New evidence has just emerged about the tire cooling allegations against McLaren, and it may just be the most shocking news out of F1 this year, but definitely not as shocking as seeing Valtteri Bottas replace Sergio Perez for F1 2025. You see, when the news about Red Bull's allegations started making rounds, it was pretty unbelievable that Red Bull, of all teams, was accusing other teams of using the tire cooling trick to race faster and better. But as we all know, the off-track battle between Red Bull and McLaren didn't start today. Earlier, we witnessed a dispute over flexi wings, as Red Bull and Ferrari believed that their rivals' wings flex beyond the legal limits. They claimed that this trick was providing a competitive edge by reducing drag or improving aerodynamic efficiency in ways that the regulations do not intend. But after lots and lots of investigation, it turns out McLaren did nothing wrong. The tables have recently turned, as Red Bull got accused of using a trick on their front bib adjusters, with the allegations stating that Red Bull may have been using the device in parc ferme. And now, it's Red Bull accusing McLaren of playing tricks on the whole world. It all started when the Singapore Grand Prix saw Lando Norris's most dominant weekend ever, where he was a second a lap quicker than Max Verstappen. Although Verstappen did well in terms of damage control and Lando Norris's wins didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, Red Bull wasn't happy. Red Bull claimed that during September's Singapore Grand Prix, where Norris won from pole position to beat Verstappen by 20.9 seconds and won the most dominant displays of F1 2024, it was an impossible feat as Norris's abilities were well known. The result of the race raised eyebrows from Red Bull, who questioned how Norris was able to pull that off. If you know Red Bull well enough, you know that they're fully aware of the advantages of this practice because of how much they were into it before it was outlawed by a FIA technical directive some years ago. According to a report, Red Bull claimed that rival teams were spotted with water and also that watermarks were seen inside some rims after tires had been stripped at Pirelli's base post-race in Singapore. This allegation called for an investigation by the F1 governing body, and eventually it was revealed by Mario Isola, the head of Pirelli's F1 and racing activities, that there is no evidence of teams adding water to their tires, with no abnormalities seen in the data. After that revelation, a report by motorsport.com also revealed that F1's governing body have come to the same conclusion, with the FIA finding no evidence of extra moisture in tires and wheel rims after an inspection in Brazil. The whole issue was because of how much Red Bull believes in Verstappen, who took a giant step towards a fourth consecutive world championship at Interlagos, winning from 17th on the grid to collect his 8th victory of the F1 2024 season. At this point, the latest triumph would see Verstappen claim a fourth consecutive world title, becoming the second man in F1 history after Sebastian Vettel, who previously dominated with Red Bull between 2010 and 2013, to win each of his first 4 world championships in successive years. Many have speculated that Red Bull's pride in being the reigning champion was just bruised as they sat a disappointing third in the constructors' table within 49 points adrift of McLaren and Ferrari during the second half of F1 of 2024. Many fans have expressed their disappointment as Verstappen is bidding for a 4th consecutive F1 title, whereas Norris is looking to become world champion for the first time. That's kind of shocking, but what if I told you that Bottas will replace Sergio Perez as Verstappen's teammate? Now, that sounds just impossible, and here's why. Back in 2018, in both Quarter 2 and Quarter 3, Bottas attempted to pass Verstappen as they started their hot laps and twice compromised the first sectors for both drivers. This made Verstappen comment on Bottas' approach, saying it's just not clever. When asked if he'd ever talked to Bottas, he replied, "Nope, I don't need to be the person to go to him. He should go to me." It became more apparent that the two were not cool with each other when Bottas criticized the Formula 1 rulebook, labeling a certain loophole utilized famously by a certain driver as unfair. Although he did not mention a name, there has been speculation that he was referring to Max Verstappen. Further speculation mentions how the Red Bull racing driver has always driven to the rulebook, exploiting it in some way for his own benefit. Considering how long Verstappen has been in the game, it is believed that he knows every rule of the game. With this tension between the two, would it be safe to have them become partners? It's actually all just assumptions made on the Fast and Curious podcast due to Bottas left without a seat for the F1 2025 season. This was confirmed as soon as Audi F1, who will take over the existing Sauber team in 2026, announced that Gabriel Bortoleto will become Nico Hülkenberg's teammate for next year in an all-new driver lineup. Everyone knows Bottas' role as Lewis Hamilton's teammate between 2017 through 2021, where he contributed to 5 consecutive Constructor Championship triumphs. This is why some feel that Bottas would be a good fit for Red Bull if they're looking for a stopgap for that second seat. Apparently, Sergio Perez has not been fantastic and is likely to be dropped by Red Bull at the end of F1 of 2024 after a disastrous season. Perez is trailing teammate Verstappen by 242 points with a few races remaining. Considering Bottas' achievement, he may just be fit for the role. However, Bottas has revealed that he would consider his return to Mercedes in a backup role to George Russell and Andrea Kimi Antonelli for F1 2025 before it was confirmed that he had officially been dropped. Since then, Bottas had been putting his body through its paces. In a video posted on his social media account, Bottas showed how he spent his week off at home, completing the equivalent of an Ironman triathlon. In case you didn't know, Ironman is one of the most grueling body fitness tests anyone can attempt to complete. It includes a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile cycling, and a full marathon distance of 26.2 miles. In total, it took Bottas about 11 hours to complete, and eventually he burned around 7,000 calories. It's totally insane, and no one saw it coming. Now, what no one would probably expect is the driver to replace Perez. Although no replacement has been declared, a few people have been speculated as a good fit for the position. Of course, we still may see Sergio Perez himself retain his spot since his contract is still on. However, if Red Bull decides to part ways with him, then the current RB driver, Liam Lawson, looks like the next person to fill that spot. This is because Lawson has been impressive on multiple occasions. He scored points on his first race back on the grid at the United States Grand Prix, despite a grid penalty putting him at the back of the grid. He sure looks like the man, but could his inexperience get in the way? Judging from how Red Bull has learned that speed isn't always enough, as was the case with Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon, they may not want to have that deal. So if not Lawson, then maybe Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda has also been performing strongly this season with 28 points, but his recent mistake may also get in the way. These mistakes are not hidden from Red Bull, just like Franco Colapinto's achievements since replacing Logan Sargent. There have been rumors that Franco Colapinto might become Verstappen's teammate as Red Bull has shown interest in him. However, Red Bull has to put $20 million on the table as demanded by Williams team boss James Vowles. But is it really worth it, since Colapinto is even more inexperienced than Lawson? What about Carlos Sainz, you ask? Actually, Sainz can't be Perez's replacement, either because he now has a Williams contract, and besides, Sainz's dad is not a fan of Verstappen's dad, so no deal. The question still remains, who will be Verstappen's new teammate if Sergio is dropped? If you have anyone else in mind, let me know in the comments section.